Hey there, we are back. It is chapter 3 time of Love People Use Things. Let's go. This chapter I was like, self-care. Got it. But of course there are always things to learn because nowadays self-care, it's such a buzzword and everybody's like, make some time for self-care, girl. What is self-care? It's a bubble bath. No. It's all about ways to take care of yourself and be able to listen to yourself, primarily your body and your brain, and actually be able to do things that truly help you, not a mud mask. Look, if you do mud masks and that makes you happy, then do it. But I have recently had a problem with the idea that self-care is just doing the things that the internet and media tell us is self-care instead of actually doing things like self-care that are in this chapter. Anyway, question 1. What are you actually seeking with your current lifestyle? Why? Is it what you want or is it what someone else wants? I had one of the most stable childhoods of anybody that I personally know. Therefore, when I went out on my own into a notoriously unstable career, imagine this. I developed some anxiety. All this to say, in my adult life, I have attempted to build stability that I see lacking in other people in my career. So as I have gained these things that give me a sense of stability, I have felt better. My anxious stomach that I've had my entire life is the calmest it's ever been. And that's like my physical red flag. So when my body, and more importantly my brain, feels stable, I have less of these like little red flags. And so now that I have those things, I have sort of a level of quietness that's really great. But no one told me I needed these things necessarily. My family, my friends have all been very supportive of the fact that I was just going to go out and try to make money with a camera. That's an incredible thing, and I'm very fortunate to have that. I think it was something that was expected of me to have, coming from the place that I came from, suburbia land. I was probably just expected to do something similar, and I am, kind of. Does meeting that expectation also cause some sort of sense of stability? Probably, but it never felt forced. So what am I seeking? I'm seeking stability. And I think I'm finding it, even in these absolutely wackadoo times. And can we just have a moment to appreciate the fact that my life is the most unstable it has probably ever been, and I am possibly the most mentally stable I've ever been. Question 2. When in your life have you felt your best? What factors contributed to that feeling? So I didn't really know how to answer this question, mostly because I don't look back on my life and be like, gosh, college was the best. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That feels like a good thing. There were certain things in each part of my life that there were really great things that happened and really bad things that affected me. So like as a child, I was well supported. I had everything I possibly could have ever needed, but I had a lot of anxiety. In high school, I had a lot of anxiety as well. And there were some really great times that I had in high school, but looking back, there were also some really sad and tragic things that happened. So like I wouldn't say that that's a really great part. College, I worked too hard and I didn't make friendships or the infamous stories that everybody has from their college experience, but I was doing a really incredible thing in a really incredible place. So like there were good and bads in that as well. And then post-college, I was the most cynical about life that I'd ever been in my entire existence, but that's when I met Dan. So there wasn't a time that I felt my absolute best. I hope there isn't a time in my life that I look back and be like, gosh, those were the best days ever. I would like to go forth into every phase of my life and have the ability to look at the good for how good it was and the bad for what it was as well. I guess I could say that I'm feeling my best now. Mentally, physically, emotionally. I have everything I need to be happy, but it's up to me to make myself joyful. Does the awareness of your best mean that it's not your best? Does your awareness of it not being the best mean that it is your best? I don't know. But I think if I was going to sum up this question, I would say, I don't think there's ever been a time that's been the best or the worst. There's good and bad in all of the phases of my life, and for that, I am very appreciative. Question 3. What new practices and routines will help you pay attention to your health on a daily basis? This one I got. Over the last 2 years, I've been taking up walking where I do like 3 miles a day, but I've also been doing a lot of yoga when it was like cold or wet or I didn't want to go outside and get dressed. So those practices have really helped me because as we learn in this chapter, exercise and fresh air and sunlight are good for your mental and physical health. Imagine that. But then I've been meditating since 2018, and that practice of being still, as I have mentioned in previous videos, is very important to me. And it's helping me realize that I don't have to be working at every moment of the day. That quietness also helps me listen to my body. For instance, my anxious stomach has pretty much disappeared because I am able to realize when I'm getting anxious, do something about it, and then move on. It's really great being able to use these practices and seeing them not even directly, but indirectly affect my daily life. Because, you know, you get on the mat or you go on a walk and you're like, yeah, I feel good now. That's fine. But actually seeing it work and being able to recognize that it works in other aspects of your life without you even realizing that they were connected, oh, so good. I also have like weird little reminders. I've done a lot of work on habits, especially in 2020. Using the things that I've learned about habits and the way that we create them and the way that we can break them has helped me start listening to my body more, which is just so good. So good. So my hope is I've listened to the big signals, like my crazy crippling anxiety stomach, and have helped those specific big red flags become addressed. So now I'm hoping with the next level of stillness, with the next level of awareness, I'm able to listen to some of the smaller signals that my body is giving me, and I'm really looking forward to that. Question 4. What free medicine can you incorporate into your health regimen? So based on the stuff in this chapter, which I thought was brilliant, I definitely need more sunlight. I will go a week without leaving my house. Now, granted, this is because COVID times. This is also because generally when I leave my house for work, it is dark outside. As a theater photographer, theater usually happens at night. Also inside and inside dark rooms. So I get very little sunlight. And hearing about the science of why that's a good thing to do is really encouraging. I guess what my Apple Watch has been telling me to do for years was right. But I was walking a lot in the summer of 2020 because I wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't see anyone. I wasn't going to any sort of gym. So I would walk, and it was great. And I was in very good shape, and I was able to mentally survive what was the summer of 2020 and come out the other side a better and stronger person. Is my yoga helping me get sunlight? No. Is my meditation helping me get sunlight? No. It's also cold, and I don't like being cold. I don't want to go outside. But the fact that I can go like 3 or 4 days without leaving my house is probably not good. It's great because I still have not gotten COVID as of the time of this taping. Knock on wood. What I did find interesting though, side note, is the idea that things like yoga and meditation and walking are just removing the alarms from your body telling you what's wrong and maybe not actually adjusting or fixing what set off the alarm in the first place in your body. I'd like to know more about that philosophy. Like the idea that, yes, we are getting rid of the symptom, but have we fixed the problem? I don't know. I need more of that. Where is there more about that science? Question 5. How can you contribute more to others' well-being? I subscribe to the philosophy that you cannot pour into other people's cups if there is nothing in yours. But the self-care that has permeated social media over the last 2 years is bogus. At least for me, and at least for the type of stress that we're talking about in this book, and the type of relationship with yourself that you can create through the ideas of awareness and simplicity and being in line with your values. When I do go back to a world that requires me to see lots of people and work very quickly, I will be really in tune with what I need. Because before COVID, when I was working at a crazy level, I absolutely was not taking the proper time because I would work during the day and also work all night and come home at like midnight. And that's not healthy for anybody, but that is the nature of what I do. So self-care is not a like bath bomb and a face mask. It's going on the adventure. It's learning something about yourself that you didn't know before. It's asking yourself these tough questions that are in this book. If I can do that for myself and then make connections with people and show them how to do that as well, that's the self-care. That's the way to make it better for everybody involved. I can be a better sounding board. I can be a better person to lean on. I can be a better ear for my friends' problems and look at them in a more objective way and get less emotionally involved. I can take on more passion projects. The possibilities would be endless if I could just get my act together. And I think that would be everybody. Everybody would say that, right? Like we could all do more and be better if we just had the time or we weren't dealing with our own stuff. Well, if you deal with your stuff, like doing these activities and working through these tough questions, that is getting your shit together. I feel like I've wasted so much time not knowing how to care for myself that now, instead of being upset about it, I need to just do it. We all need to just do it. So those are the 5 questions for chapter 3, Love People Use Things. This is what I've learned from this chapter. I am here. I have been focusing on my relationship with myself because during COVID, that's one of the only relationships I have. And with all of the crazy nonsense going on in the world right now, the best thing that I've felt like I can do is become certain in my values and get my act together so that when I go out in the world and I create new relationships and I interact with people differently, that I know why I'm doing it. I'm not just doing it to save face. I'm doing it because I've taken care of myself and now I can take care of other people. So the do's and don'ts of this chapter are asking for a lot. Like a lot. Now, one of the things that I've started doing since I read this chapter is I instituted a gratitude practice. I have tried to do this many times. I love a good notebook. I love a good colored pen. I love a good daily jot. I have a bullet journal. I could very easily make gratitude a part of that bullet journal, but for some reason, it is just not sticking. So I found an app and I've been doing it on my phone first thing in the morning and then last thing at night before I put my phone away in my office. So that one for sure has been really great. Obviously pause. Obviously I love meditating. Gotta do it. And then all that habit work that they're talking about for the rest of the do's and don'ts. That was stuff that luckily I had done last year. I've set up a lot of really good habits. Now I know the tips and tricks in order to make more if I so choose and find something I want to incorporate into my life on a daily basis. That work is really great. I would definitely encourage that. The don'ts really hit home this week too, because woof, how many times in my life have I let the fear of failure stop me from doing something? So much. Now I'm trying this, I'm trying some other stuff on the internet, but before, if it wasn't perfect the first time, then I would just let it go. Well, I can't do that. I'm not gonna learn anything. Also, failure is not a reflection on me as a human. If I try something and I fail at it, that's okay. I'm not a failure as a person. That is a hard thing to actually instill into your existence, especially if you are a person like me who did a lot of stuff in her early life really well, and now it's not that you're not doing well, it's that there aren't the benchmarks that were instilled in us in basic K through 12 education, where you're working towards an award or working towards an end goal. Life is without an end goal. So I'm not gonna let the idea of what I perceive as failure stop me from trying something, especially if it's something I really wanna do. So that's chapter 3. Self, man. Arguably the most important relationship. Should have been chapter 1 in my personal opinion. Maybe not. The first 2 chapters were very important. I'm sure there was a reason for this order, but those first 2 chapters made me feel like an idiot. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was insightful. I hope you feel a little less alone. I hope you don't feel like a failure because you haven't done some of these things. So the next chapter we have, chapter 4, values. Very excited about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying this journey as much as I am. I hope you're learning about it. I hope you're actually doing these activities, because if you are, I think this is going to be a pretty life-changing read. Anyway, enjoy. I'll see you next time.